Hey, what's good, fam? This is the Wackadoodle Samoan, and heaven is where we're going. Man, have I got a video for you guys. Oh, wow. This one here is it's going to be very interesting. Okay, so let's get started. So, in my community post, I did something, I made a post regarding God's, what seems to be a very consistent pattern with Israel and the month of November. Okay? So, I've done some videos already where in the month of November, voting contracts have either been agreed upon or even penned in the month of November. Very, very important years regarding Israel in its pre-formation, its formation, and its advancement, such as 1967. Okay? They've all happened in the month of November. Well, I want to show you something very interesting that I came across. But before I do that, let's go over to Bubba News. So I was reading Bubba's Telegram, and I'm going to read this here real quick, okay? So this was an update. This was from yesterday, or actually early this morning. 170 countries are getting on board. On Thursday, November 14th, which was yesterday, 2024, only 6 countries, including Israel and the USA, voted in support of Israel at the UN. Every G7 country and European ally of Israel voted against Israel and voted in favor of a self-determined independent state of Palestine. Which resolution? The right of the Palestinian people to self-determination. I think the actual resolution was drafted back in September. What does this mean? Basically, the number of countries that would support dividing God's land of Israel has grown to 170 with yesterday's vote. Okay? I'm not going to read the rest of it here, but however, the 6 countries that did vote against: United States, Israel, Argentina, Paraguay, Micronesia, and Nauru. Here's what's interesting about all this. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a short lesson here in the UN. So the UN, I think, comprises of 193 nations. Now, within the UN body, these nations have an opportunity to express their thoughts, opinions, recommendations for resolutions. Okay. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Let's go over here to let's see, what's this? Green Meadows Petting Farm Employment. Larry, you can't apply to be petted. I love my horse. Oh, man. Okay, hold on. Getting back to what we're actually talking about. So the United Nations, again, has 193 members. I believe it's around there. Well, 15 members make up the United Nations Security Council. Okay? These are the ones that actually have voting power. Now, the 15 members are made up of permanent and non-permanent members. Follow me so far? So if you look down here at the non-permanent members, these are the 10 non-permanent members, and then there's the 5 permanent members. Okay? Now, the 5 permanent members, as you can see, the United States is one of them. So here's how this works in the realm of voting. So what happens is they draft up resolutions within the United Nations General Assembly. Okay? Once the resolutions are drafted, they then go to the Security Council, which is these 15 nation members. They vote on the resolution. Now, in order for a resolution to be passed, 9 of the 15 have to approve it. Okay, are you following me? Now, here's the caveat. If any of the permanent members, the permanent 5, veto or use the veto, so let's say a resolution comes to the Security Council, the 15 nations, it gets passed by a majority, which is 9. Okay, even at that, any of the permanent members can veto the resolution, and guess what? The resolution does not pass. Okay, does that make sense so far? Get ready for what I want to show you. Look at this, guys. Okay, there's the 9 of the 15 members, right? They must vote in favor of the resolution. The veto power is the 5 permanent members of the, okay? They have the power to veto. If any of the 5 permanent members vote against a resolution, it cannot pass. Okay, we just went over that. But I want to show you something. Well, before I do, let me ask a question, okay? The question is this. Could there be a situation or a circumstance where the United Nations General Assembly can override a permanent party veto? The answer will surprise you. And the answer is yes. Oh, it gets better. It's only happened one time. Okay? It's only happened one time where a resolution came to the Security Council. It got passed unanimously, I think, mind you. And then one of the permanent members vetoed it, but the United Nations General Assembly overridden the veto. And I'm going to show you all this here because this is insane. Because I think they're going to do it again, church. Okay, let's see. Where is it? Where was that at? It was down here somewhere. Hold on. What country's veto? Has there ever been a unanimous UN vote? I think that might be it. Oh, well, it's the one right. Has there ever been a unanimous UN vote? Yes. Okay, this was the Security Council on 8th of November 2002, offering Iraq under Saddam Hussein a final opportunity to comply with its disarmament obligations that had been set out in several previous, probably, resolutions. So yeah, they did have a unanimous vote once, but that's not what I want to show you. Look at this. Look at this. Can the General Assembly override the Security Council? In accordance with the General Assembly's Uniting for Peace resolution of November 1950, if the Security Council fails to act owing to the negative vote of a permanent member, then the General Assembly may act. Here, I'm going to click on this. It's going to go into a little bit more explanation. Okay, so Uniting for Peace resolution. Under the UN Charter, however, the General Assembly cannot discuss and make recommendations on peace and security. Limited powers with regard to peace and security matters. There may be cases when the Assembly can take action. Listen to this, guys. In accordance with the General Assembly's Uniting for Peace resolution of November 1950, Resolution 377, look at those numbers. If the Security Council fails to act owing to the negative vote of a permanent member, then the General Assembly may act. And so in other words, to put it in layman's terms, again, when the resolution comes to the Security Council, they vote on it. If they get 9 votes, it then it's up, it's up to the permanent 5. As long as a permanent 5 does not veto it, it goes into law. But if any of the 5, right, if they veto it, if they use their veto, like the United States will do in this case, then under any other circumstance, the resolution's done. It's dead in the water. Except, here we go, except, this would happen in the case where there appears to be a threat to the peace, breach of the peace, or act of aggression, right? That's what this whole thing is about, is Israel's aggression. The General Assembly can consider the matter with a view to make recommendations to members for collective measures to maintain or restore international peace and security. Peace and security, for when they say peace and, right? Here's where it gets even better. This resolution was invoked only once in the UN peacekeeping history. Only once has this ever been invoked, where in 1956, the General Assembly established the first UN emergency force, or UNIF, right in the Middle East. Get ready, church. I'm going to click on this. Bleeps. Okay, I'm going to try to turn this sideways. All right, I hope you guys can read this. Okay, in the summary, In July of 1956, Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal Company over the protests of France and the United Kingdom. On 13 October, the Security Council adopted a resolution setting forth certain principles for the operation of the canal. Now, consultations on the implementation of those principles were underway when new hostilities broke out in the area. On 29 October 1956, Israeli forces launched an attack on Egypt and occupied Sinai and the Gaza Strip. A few days later, British and French troops landed in the Suez Canal zone. The Security Council discussed the matter on 31 October, but no decision could be adopted owing to the vetoes of France and the United Kingdom. Okay, because they're part of the permanent party. Make sense? All right. So I don't need to go over that. I've gone over that process enough. You guys know how that works. Okay, so under the Uniting of Peace resolution, the matter was then referred to the General Assembly, which met in emergency special session from 1 to 10 November. The Assembly called for a ceasefire and the withdrawal of all foreign forces from occupied territories. It also established the first United Nations emergency force to secure and supervise the cessation of hostilities. Following the dispatch of the emergency force to the area, the French and British forces left the Suez Canal zone by 22nd December 1956. The withdrawal of the Israeli forces was completed by 8 March 57. Okay. I'm not going to read too much more into that. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you here. So let me go back over here. Come back over. I'll just go back to my thing here. Okay, so there you have it. Here's what I think is happening. Okay, so in summary, back in November of 1956, the UN General Assembly overrode the veto power of two of the permanent party. There was something here about genocide. Let me see where that was at, because that's important too. How they can take action. This would have happened where there appears to be a threat to the peace, breach of the peace, or act of aggression. There was something here about genocide. I don't know where it's at now. I just read it. Anyways, if they feel that there's a genocide that is happening, they can do it as well. Okay. And that's what they're accusing Israel of doing. They're accusing Israel of genocide. They're in Gaza Strip, so that's another avenue that the UN General Assembly can now override. Basically, it's going to be the United States. So here's what's happening. Okay, so let's fast forward to now. I hope I'm not confusing anyone. Okay. Right now, there's a resolution on the table, and it according to Bubba News, the resolution is passed through the General Assembly. Okay, with a vote of 170 nations for the two-state solution. Okay, this is going to go to the Security Council for a vote, probably any day now. The Security Council is going to vote, and they're going to get a unanimous vote. It's going to be the 9 votes they're going to need. Then it immediately, so at that point, the United States is going to veto it. But guess what? Most likely, because of this has to deal with, in their eyes, aggression from Israel and genocide from Israel, they're going to override the United States veto, and they're going to put this into law. That's what I'm getting at. Guys, it's only the 15th. It's only the middle of the month. My theory is that they're going to not only draft this, they're going to sign it before December 1st. This could very well be the peace and safety that Paul was talking about. Are you guys following me so far? Because if this is the case, I'm going to make a postulation. I believe that the Antichrist now has the vehicle that he needs to conquer and to go forth conquering through this covenant of death, this covenant of peace that Daniel talks about. Okay? Well, if that's the case, then at this point, if this does get drafted this month, signed or penned this month, as all the other ones have done, even the one time that the UN General Assembly overridden the Security Council's veto was in November 56. So there's yet another November. I'm telling you guys, I really think that over the next 15 days, this is going to be the peace and safety, because it ties in so beautifully. It dovetails so beautifully with MBS, with his spearheading everything with the two-state solution. Of course, we've got Donald Trump, absolutely on his end, trying to do everything he can to make sure he can bring, quote, peace to the Middle East. Right? This is huge. This is absolutely huge. So there you have it. There's the video I wanted to do. Okay, so Bubba, thank you so much for being so consistent with your news, man. I love reading your stuff. You and Bro Keegs. Oh my goodness, wow. I mean to tell you, this is absolutely bonkers where we're at right now. Because if they do this, and they probably will, guys, this is it. This is the peace and safety that gets drafted, and it kind of gets forced on Israel. So in reference to in regards to the rapture of the church, you see what I'm saying? The rapture of the church has to happen. It has to happen pretty squarely. Okay, now we may be here to see them drafted. It's possible. But you look at all the attacks that are going on right now in Lebanon and in Syria, right? Jeremiah 49, the bow of Elam. There's a scripture right above that, just a few verses right above that, talking about the wealthy nation and what happens to that wealthy nation. That's us, by the way. I think it's tandem here of what happens. So there you have it, guys. I'm going to end this video. I don't want to go too much longer. I believe in wrapping. They are going to sign this resolution. And it is the peace and safety. And it is exactly what the Antichrist needs to enforce or to confirm, right? Because it goes side by side or dovetails with the Abraham Accords. It's part and parcel. It's the same difference, if I may. So there you have it. See why I said this video was so important? Once again, the United Nations has shown November is a very, very crucial month. And I believe this is a turning point for Israel. And because of that, the church can't be here. We can't be here. So there you have it, guys. All right. I love you guys. I'll put out maybe another video or two this weekend. I'm kind of debating about the whole Popity video. I'm vacillating on that, but we'll see. Oh, and, mods, if you can shoot me an email, I need to talk to you guys real quick too. So that being said, I love you guys. Yeah, wow, we are going home, man. I still believe in a 2024 rapture. To me, that makes the most amount of sense. So Wackadoodle Samoan is I'm making an official statement. The Wackadoodle Samoan is definitely looking for a 2024 rapture. It just makes sense to me. So, all right, guys, you already know. You do already know. This is the Wackadoodle Samoan. In heaven, woo, is where we're going.